The 2025-2026 NBA season has officially tipped off, and the Philadelphia 76ers are already stirring up conversation. Philly opened their campaign with a nail-biting 117-116 victory over the Boston Celtics. A win over their longtime rivals is always a good start, but beneath the celebration, there's real concern brewing in Philadelphia. Because Joel Embiid, the team's franchise cornerstone, looked off. The reigning 2023 MVP finished with just 4 points on 1-for-9 shooting. He played only 20 minutes before spending most of the game watching from the bench as Tyrese Maxey and rookie VJ Edgecombe carried the load. The young duo combined for a stunning 74 points, putting on a show that electrified fans and sealed the win. But as exciting as that sounds, everyone's eyes were still on Embiid, and what they saw was worrying. The seven-time All-Star looked slow, fatigued, and visibly uncomfortable on the court. His movements lacked that signature explosiveness, that dominant presence that used to make defenders tremble. For Sixers fans, this wasn't the MVP they remembered, it was a man trying to fight through pain and wear. And it's not just fans who noticed. NFL legend Shannon Sharpe and former NBA star Joe Johnson discussed Embiid's condition during a segment on Sharpe's Nightcap program. Johnson didn't hold back when describing what he saw. "Embiid looks like he laboring," Johnson said bluntly. "I know he went 1-for-9, but he don't look explosive anymore." And honestly, that was hard to argue. Embiid, now 30 years old, has suffered multiple knee injuries throughout his career. It's the one thing that's kept him from truly dominating season after season. And at some point, those injuries start to add up. Shannon Sharpe agreed completely, saying, "Joe, you know they can only go on your knees so many times. They can only go on your back so many times. And that's a big man. Joe, you know getting up and down that court trying to play those minutes. For a player who relies so much on power, agility, and footwork, that kind of wear and tear can be devastating." You could almost feel Sharpe's concern as he talked about it, not just as a commentator, but as someone who knows what it's like to push a body past its limits. But to be fair, Sharpe didn't go all negative. He gave Embiid credit for staying in shape and for the hard work he's done in rehab. Still, as he explained, being in rehab shape isn't the same as being in game shape. He rehabbed, Sharpe said. "You know, to be in shape, you got to train. Rehabbing just gets you back to where you were. Training takes you to the next level. He hasn't been able to train. He's been rehabbing." That right there might be the most important point of the whole discussion. Rehab gets you healthy. Training makes you dominant. And right now, Embiid looks like a man who's still somewhere in between. So maybe we shouldn't rush to judgment. Coming off another knee injury, it's natural that he'd be rusty, time, lost rhythm, and probably isn't comfortable pushing himself to the limit yet. But at the same time, this isn't just any player, we're talking about the face of the franchise, the man who once carried the Sixers to the top of the East and won MVP honors doing it. That's why fans are worried. Because this version of Joel Embiid doesn't look ready to carry anything. Still, the Sixers can take some positives away from their opener. Tyrese Maxey continues to blossom into a legitimate star, and rookie VJ Edgecombe's explosive debut has Philly buzzing. The young core looked fearless and hungry, exactly what you'd want at the start of a long season. The problem is, without a healthy Embiid, their ceiling remains limited. Philadelphia didn't even make the play-in tournament last year. And while the Eastern Conference is unpredictable, it's also packed with competitive teams. For the Sixers to break into the top 6, they'll need their big man to find his rhythm again fast. So, what happens next? If Embiid can regain even 80% of his old form, Philly's playoff hopes stay alive. But if these early signs of decline continue, it could mark the beginning of a very difficult transition for both him and the franchise. The Sixers have lived and died by Joel Embiid for years. His health has always been the great unknown, the one thing standing between this team and true contention. And right now, it looks like that question is still unanswered. As Shannon Sharpe put it, there's only so many times you can go on those knees. One game doesn't define a season, but it can tell a story. And if this first chapter is any indication, Joel Embiid's battle isn't with opposing defenses anymore, it's with time, pain, and the limits of his own body. Sixers fans can only hope the next game shows a different story.